What is up, YouTube?
Hello, YouTube.
Today is arms. We're going to start with a light warm-up. Just bar work. Straight bar. Fully extend. Fully curl up. Full range of motion is the name of the game. All the way down. All the way up.
So for all the ladies, this bar is about 15 kilograms. Open up yourself, stand wide. Try not to narrow yourself on hunch over your chest or through the chest. Open up, draw through the upper rib cage, and then come into holding the body upright. So your posture is important as you train. So you don't train into a slouch. Open up, slightly flex the quads, stand with the feet balanced and pressure in the heels. Then extend yourself as much as possible. And then draw the bar up towards the shoulders. Now, often I'm asked a question or posed with a scenario that as a lady or a young female, I don't want arms. As you grow older, you start to question the saggy skin that gathers around the fibers of the top and upper arms. This is the way to introduce fibers and expel any unwanted toxins, fat, and so on, so that you can shape the arms. Now, it's shaped across the upper body, from the chest across to the shoulders, biceps, triceps. So you don't need to specifically train the arms unless you have a goal that you set out for yourself. You want to attain something, but the upper body. And in terms of females, the upper body is really trained, if at all, specifically if you're coming from a very static type environment. So we focus a lot on building strength into the upper body, and the arms are included in that, although you can avoid training arms specifically. But if you do, engage yourself enough so that you create a strong base, working only into, in this case, the bicep. Keep the shoulder blades square and flat. And then inhale as you lift up. And exhale as you draw down. It's taxing across the entire body. And once you engage the whole body and then work into specific fiber like biceps in this case, you'll feel the engagement across the spaces and how relevant it is to have total absorption of information across the whole body.
And for the boys, we just like big arms. So you gotta train them. And one way to do that is full range of motion. So that from the bottom, you recruit fibers to the top. All the way down, all the way up. And don't think of it as just lifting the bar, getting the bar from A to B. It's flexing the bar up. It is flexion under tension. So it's like showing someone your bicep, but with a bar. Then you're training your biceps. Flex and stretch. Flex and stretch.
The grip strength in the hands is not overemphasized. So consider your hands merely hooks. Don't crunch into the hands. You'll change the emphasis into the forearms and they become blocked, hard to move through quickly. So open up myself, draw the shoulder blades wide, open up the shoulders. You can see that in relation to this. Open it up, draw your core in, hold yourself stable, and then lift up through the biceps.
So athletic stance. Make yourself broad. The way you train, the way you shape yourself while training will ultimately become your form. So if you have shitty form, you're going to have shitty form. Train in the manner you want to look like. So if you want to be upright and athletic, that's how you stand when you're doing an activity. So for warm-up sets, do as many as needed for you to be confident and comfortable before you move on to the heavy sets. Warm up your elbows, warm up your shoulders, specifically your biceps, all the tendons and ligaments attached to them. Make sure everything is nice, warm and lubricated before you kick into a high gear. And if you do the warm-up properly, you're pretty much already sending the signal to the brain what's going to happen now. You prime the muscle for work. So that's what a warm-up should be, priming the muscle that you're about to train. Phew. Notice there's no swinging, there's no momentum, there's no bending. Strict form. If you can't do the weight under strict form, the weight's too heavy. Lighten the load. There's no weights on the bar, it's just the bar. No ego lifting happening. We're trying to stimulate muscle growth. Nice. So today is biceps and triceps. A little less work in terms of central nervous system fatigue. So we're easing into this off season, taking it quite easy. And get into the nitty-gritty later on. But let's say for November, taking it quite easy, coming off of the shows, moving into off season. So for now, the body's still delicate. All the dehydration, all the flights we had to do, and the restriction on the food with the diet. So we're pretty much just easing back into normality. So for now, we're looking for nice pumps, just proper workouts, getting lots of pump, lots of blood flow, proper nutrition, sticking to the good stuff. You can stay there. Stay in front of the camera. Next up we have tricep extensions. Tricep push down. We like using the elastics because you get this nice constant tension. And the further you go, the harder it gets. A nice muscle feedback. Once again, big range of motion. Try and stretch at the top. Completely lock out, flex. Stretch, flex. Stretch, flex. Once again, this is just a warm-up. Getting the elbows nice and warm. Getting blood into the triceps.
So once again, I'm going to focus on the stability of the posture before I start. So I set up really well and then move through whatever I need to do after that. I make sure that I'm not leaning into my back. I open up my chest, broadening the space from shoulder to shoulder, and view the shoulders moving in one straight line. Again, try not to crunch in or roll the shoulders up and forward as you move. If you need to do that, either step closer if you're working with bands or lighten the load. Hold yourself straight, tuck yourself in so that you don't belly yourself out, slouching into the lower spine, and then drag through into the triceps. As you move, keep the elbows still. Don't clench the fists too much. Just view them once again as anchors or hooks on whichever equipment you're using. And then imagine you're moving through molasses or honey. So the movement is sticky but smooth. If that makes sense. Not jerky or overly paced. Think of slow as your new fast. Move through, allowing time for the brain to click in, visualize the fibers that you're training, and then draw it back up, releasing that tension. But as you release the tension, you hold the flexion. If that makes sense. You don't want to let go completely. Hold it there and drive back and through your molasses or your honey, and then allow the fists to lift because the elbow is changing, because the fibers between the shoulders and the elbows are contracting and extending. Break the momentum cycle, pause slightly, just stopping in the space that you're trying to resurrect or grow or adapt.
It takes about 45 seconds for an effective set to be an effective set. So you need about 45 seconds of constant tension to get your mind to realize what's happening for growth to set in. So the slower you can move, the faster you're going to get where you need to go. So move slow if you want to move fast, especially when it comes to growth and challenging a muscle. You'll start feeling as it gets difficult and the muscle gets uncomfortable, your body has a tendency to try and speed it up. Fight against that. When it gets uncomfortable, your body wants to move. Finish it. Get to 12, get to 15. Keep slowing it down. Make the muscle adapt. instead of rushing the set. Whew.
So new research is a little bit controversial in terms of you can't create fat loss in a specific area. You can't spot reduce fat. However, it will work because the metabolic rate is increased across the entire body. And therefore, you can view it as functioning in a better space. So you're moving towards wellness. Never mind the aesthetics, the body will function better, and therefore your aesthetic look will develop towards the quality of the health of the organs and the hormonal system, respiratory system, digestive tract in particular. So often you'll see saggy triceps, particularly as you age. In terms of menopause and that sort of thing, it's not necessary. You need to spend a little bit of time with yourself in terms of consistently training through strength training and the conditioning of all the systems in the body, as mentioned, the respiratory system, digestive system, hormonal system. All the systems work together in terms of keeping the body safe, alive, and utilizing energy in the best space possible. This would be training the body towards utilizing the space very well, therefore reducing any excess or most excess fat or hanging arms due to hormonal differences, particularly visible in the underarm, the back of the arm in essence.
And in the range of motion, why it's so important, especially as you grow older, the more you utilize the whole joint, the healthier the joint is going to be. If you move in a partial range of motion, chances are that's going to be your range of motion eventually. So you want to work the full range spectrum of a shoulder, of an elbow, of any type of muscle and joint, so that you have the health and longevity of that joint deep into your lifespan. Don't half-ass it. Big range, think longevity, healthy joints, healthy muscle fibers, with the ability to reach far and beyond their regular capability. Yeah. Are we getting there?
So you want to think of the arm moving back because of the contraction of the fibers at the back of the arm. That's what's happening. Rather than clenching the fist and pulling it down with the fist. So the activation is not in the fist area or the hands. Keep the hands soft. Keep them open, just merely hooks. Think of them as hooks. And then view the fibers at the back of the body starting to work. See almost little rubbish trucks coming towards the fibers and taking out the unwanted toxins, stale oxygen or carbon dioxide, whichever way you view it, fat deposits, lack of pure, nourished oxygen. And so what you put into your mouth, your nourishment, becomes more and more important as you move towards wellness of the body. Because the ability to do this consistently over weeks and months, even in the set, is symbolic of what you put into your body in order to drive the system. So sweets and cakes and such things are delicious, but only sometimes if you want to move towards aesthetic wellness.
Next up, preacher call. I don't know if you guys tried this, but it's much more stable, far less uncomfortable than a regular hanging over the bench. And this way there's no shoulder movement. It's just a bicep peak. All the way down, all the way up. And as you come up, you want to try and get your pinky to move forward, curl and rotate. Yeah. Focus on flexing the bicep to get the weight up, and not just trying to get the weight up. Shui. I go a little heavier.
Try not to over clench the fist. Keep it in the bicep, not the wrist fist area.
Woohoo! That is the spot. Shit. Whew. Next up is skulls. There's two ways you can do this. The old school way, where you go back the elbows and kick back there, or one that's here. This one is a bit more effective and safer because you're not putting your shoulder under so much strain by holding the weight back there. Try it out, let me know what you think. So this is more like a push down. Joint is safe, elbow joint is safe. You get a nice stretch. It's more in the lower portion, closer to the elbow. Phew. Nice stretch. Nice lockout. Pause for a second at the bottom in your stretch. Really stretch the fibers before you push again. Nice. That burns. Done correctly, this is a very nice mass builder for the triceps.
Oh. So again, imagine you're working yourself through something sticky. And as you reach the pinnacle, flex into it entirely. Hold the flexion. Try and hold it as long as possible, moving back into the stretch. And visualize the fibers pulling but maintaining, if you can.
Last one, kill it. Alright, next up, seated bicep curls. Pin your blades, open your shoulders, chest up. So you want to already feel a stretch in your biceps when you sit like this. So full stretch, full flex. Return to stretch, up to flex.
Slow and controlled.
Keep your chest up. Yeah. If you want your biceps and your triceps to grow, work them hard and then give them a break. You can train them 2-3 times a week, not every day, and not with thousands of exercises. Pick 2-3 exercises. They are relatively small muscles. So train them, get out, recover them. Train them, get out, recover them. Even 1 set, 2 sets of proper execution once or twice a week will get your arms to grow. I see too many guys trying to train arms every day to get them big, when in essence you're just making them smaller. So train them once or twice a week, 2 to 3 exercises, really pound them, and then step off. Stretching and getting them flexible is another way to get them bigger. Because when you're training a muscle, you're just shortening the muscle. So somewhere along the line, you need to flex them, stretch them in a different fashion to get the fibers to actually elongate, to relax, to get size, to get volume. Flexing makes a muscle smaller. So there it's small, there it's its full length, big size. So the same applies to growing the muscle. You have to get it flexible, open, elongated to get the muscle fibers to stretch, to get bigger, to volumize. So don't train them every day, and don't train them with 10, 15 types of exercises. 1 or 2 decent ones to get the job done, and then the job is done. Right.
Chest up as the scapula and shoulder blades are placed in space of stability against the bench.
Right. Yeah. And the more you stretch it, the more blood can get in. And the more blood can get in, the worse the pump is going to get. So between sets, try and stretch the biceps to provide more space for blood to filter in. So when your next set comes, there's more blood in the bicep, which makes it more excruciating when training it, because the blood can't escape fast enough. So the muscle has to give way, grow in essence. You're stretching the fascia from the inside. So provided with space and hydration, that's why you need to drink lots of fluid. Add creatine to your pre-workout or your intra-workout. So you get that water molecules to come into the muscle, draw water into the muscle, to prolong the pump, to make the pump even worse. Done. Next up, overhead extensions. Start with a nice stretch and extend. Focus on the stretch, keeping your elbows driving inward. Don't be scared to take a second in your stretch. Keep your shoulders locked down so they're not moving up and down, up and down. Lock them down and keep them there so that you can isolate the tricep.
So simply extend from the elbow up, keeping everything else as structurally sound as possible.
Yeah. Yeah. Engage your core. Keep everything still. Everything's locked down into place. And only your triceps is doing the work. Whew. Shit. And then last but not least, chemical. There's many variations to this exercise. Some people go straight up like this. Some people go across like this. Whatever resonates best with you. I do a variation of all of them. Try and incorporate all of them. And there's also the one where you slightly extend and work on top of that extension, putting the brachialis in that line of fire. So even when you relax at the bottom, it's still on, it's still working, which is a more advanced method. It really hits the brachialis.
Again, stand as tall and as wide as possible, lifting yourself up over your hips.
Keeping the shoulders nice and still. Just utilizing your brachialis. Brachialis. We'll do this set together. And then to finish up, I'm going to do 30s, like 21s, but just 10, 10, 10. So 10 from the bottom to the middle. And then 10 from the top to the middle. And then 10 full. Oh, fuck. Work it. Hold it. Relax. Relax. Thanks for watching. That's Biceps and Triceps. See you guys in the next one.